friends, it's Cindy, and thank you for coming to my channel. Today I am on my way to school. It is Thursday, and it is cold. It is really cold. It is 10 degrees, and I'm so thankful that my car started up in this freezing cold weather. 10 degrees. I think that's the coldest I've seen it on the way to school. And it's January, almost the end of January, toward the end, over the middle of January, and I'm glad for it. I'm glad to have. I like the end of February actually, getting ready for spring, but it is cold today, and we are expected to have some precipitation this weekend, maybe some snow, not sure. The sun was really pretty this morning. It's still pretty. We're, in New Hampshire, we're used to bundling up. I've got this is like a little scarf thing. I didn't have a turtleneck on today. I probably should have worn one, but I usually wear layers, but my neck, I needed something for my neck, so I grabbed this. It's nice to keep the cold air off my neck. And I've got my gloves, and we're heading to school. I noticed that my microphone yesterday on my earbuds didn't work so well, so I've got my wired, and hopefully the microphone works okay today. So let me know who you are, who's coming to this video, what you're interested in talking about. I'm just headed to school, so I like to talk about teacher stuff. I'm listening to a book with my friend Kelly Tag, who comes to my videos every now and then. And oh my goodness, this book is about 9/11, and I think it says the only plane in the sky, something like that. And it is riveting because I'm listening to it on audio on Apple Books, and it has different people on the day of 9/11 and all their different situations. Like one guy was buying eyeglasses. One guy got locked out of his office and he didn't make it into the building. And I'm sure he's glad about it. But thinking of all of the people in the building, people on the plane and what they were going through. And it kind of like gives you real live dialogue of what they were doing before the actual event. So I'm listening to that book. It's quite riveting, quite emotional, because knowing that it's true. I do have someone that I know, since I live not too far from Boston. I didn't know anybody at the time of the attack. I didn't know anybody that was in any of those situations, but I did meet someone several years ago whose father was going on a business trip and was in one of those planes. So it's still quite astounding what happened on September 11th. And I remember what I was doing. I was a homeschool mom, and we had just set up we had a satellite from a school that we were going to do our classes on. A friend of mine was helping me set it up. You just put it on the roof, and then you get the signal. That's before computers were so big, and we would get all of our lessons through the satellite, and I would record them onto VHS and all that. And I remember my friend calling me, and I was like, what are you talking about? What is this? Like I was under anesthesia, and I had to figure out what was happening. It was quite scary. And then I had my oldest boy I think he was around 12, and he was very interested in military stuff. So we went online and we checked out, I said, this is what the Iraq military has for combat and everything, and it was like nothing. And that's how kind of not knowledgeable I was. And I realized, oh, they just used us as their weapon, basically. So that was kind of an eye-opening experience, because we did research everything ourselves. What are they talking about? Who is this and who is that? And what actually happened? And for days after that, the stories were just heart-wrenching of the people that were missing, and letting all of that realization sink in was just terrible. So that's the book that we're listening to, and we're going to be talking about it as a book review. Kelly and I have done that a few times, and we would read a book and then we would talk about it. We read a book called The Radium Girls. That's a true story of the girls in, to know the years, believe it would be during World War II, when they were making glow-in-the-dark, like clocks and things like that. They would paint the radium onto the faces of the clock, and they would use like a brush. And this was one of the best jobs that you could get. And the girls were supposed to lick the brush to make it like thinner, and it would paint the stuff better. And then they started getting radioactive material in their mouth and in their body, and some people died from it. It was quite the story. And the woman who wrote the book, Kelly, was able to get her to come on Zoom, and we were able to talk to her in person on Zoom, which was pretty cool. She also wrote a book called The Woman Who Could Not Be Silenced. That was a riveting book as well. And this author did a lot of research to put her books together. So it was quite an honor to be able to talk to her in person and to ask her questions and get a little bit more closer to the author and the story. True stories. I love true stories of inspiration. Is what I really love. I was just turning on YouTube this morning, and I saw a story by Joni Erickson Tada. She was near the Palisades fire. She actually had to evacuate. So that's quite an inspiring story. She had to evacuate, and she was talking about people that were in the fires that were handicapped and they couldn't get out. She fortunately was able to get out. I guess her house was okay, because she said she went back to her house, but they're on alert to see, just in case they need to evacuate again. But she was talking about how handicapped people, talking about a father and son that just huddled together, came. So I can't remember in that story whether the house was burned down or not, but when the woman came back, her son was passed away, and there wasn't any way she could get him out. So it's quite sad, the stories. I'm sure we're going to hear more stories of the very unfortunate situation in California and all of the fires that are happening. That's actually something I've always, since I was a little kid, I always was scared of fires, and so I'm sure that was very horrific. Yeah, so that's in the news. That's in the news. Something good I saw in the news was in New Hampshire, there was some cat that escaped from New Hampshire and was found in Michigan. It said, New Hampshire cat found 600 miles away in Michigan. I don't know how they did that. Maybe the cat was chipped or something. But if it was chipped, why didn't they find it sooner? I don't really know. But that was in the headline. The cat was found in Michigan from New Hampshire. That's quite a story. So I'm headed on the way to school. It was 11 when I left, and it is now 13. So it's looking like it's a little warmer. So today is Thursday, and on Monday we were able to do a crochet club with the students at my school. We did 5th and 6th graders, and they loved it. I love that age because they're always so excited about trying new things. So we had our first crochet club on Monday, and we taught them how to do the slip knot. We taught them how to do the chain stitch. So they were making chains on Monday, and on the next Monday we're hoping we can start with a single crochet, maybe make some sort of a square. So right now we're just using scraps of yarn and just practicing. Nothing's, majorly amazing right now, but just getting started. And I just love teaching kids how to do yarn crafts, and it's amazing how some kids really take to it and others just, I don't want to do this. But it's good for everyone to at least try and get started, and it's something you can do that's when you're cold. It's also good to have something like this to do to make gifts. Making baby blankets is a really great thing to do. Hats, so many people do well making hats and mittens and socks. And Ravelry.com is a great place to go to find patterns, and lots of free patterns there. And also there's ideas of maybe putting things into a fair. Like where we live, there's an agricultural fair, and people put paintings, pictures. I've made doilies. I have a video where I shared all the things that I made at the fair. Last year I made a blanket. I think I might make another blanket. I think I'll make another sweater this year. Step it up a little bit. Make it kind of amazing. I want to make something that's really stands out. So I'm still in the works for picking something out like that. Thank you for coming to this video. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Today I will be teaching my math classes, and I also have study hall and lunch on Thursdays. And on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a tutoring student that I will tutor via Zoom. And that's been going very well. And this tutoring student really enjoys the classes, which is really fun. I love it. One-on-one is really awesome. And in New Hampshire, we have actually the Education Freedom Account. There's actually going to be some hearings today at the State House about the Education Freedom Account. And New Hampshire is working on making school choice a thing. So we want to be able to give parents of homeschool children, parents of children that go to different schools, or even the money could be used for tutoring, any kind of sports. All of this money could be used for that. So it's a great way to be able to do school choice and kids can enjoy different aspects of learning with using this money. So this could be used for tutoring, tutoring math or reading or any other type of need that your student might have. So I think it's a great thing. I'm able to vote on that this year. This year they're going to be voting on, for right now there's like an income limit. They want, only people under a certain income bracket can get the Education Freedom Account money. But a lot of us, hopefully it will pass, that everybody who wants to access or to have this money can get it. And it's, one of the things is that in New Hampshire it costs about $20,000 per student for education. If you take your kid out, you have to pay for it yourself. Like if you want to send them to a different school or you want to homeschool, it's on your dollar. But this is extra money that instead of you just doing it yourself, the state will kick in a few $1,000s so that you can buy needs for your students, which is really cool because through the years, we paid for our own violin lessons, piano lessons, any kind of lessons that we wanted. We paid for it. And this would be a relief to parents that want to homeschool, because already you're giving up your second income usually. Usually you can't have two incomes or two wage earners and then also homeschool. It's a big commitment. So I think it's really cool to have a way to give homeschool families a relief financially. And usually they're the ones that are doing a great job and they could use the resources. Like I said, when my kids were younger, we did music lessons, and actually my mom helped out a lot with that. So it's a way that people can tailor make their education for their child and send their kid to a school or tailor make their education for them. So that's my story, and I thank you so much for listening. It's a beautiful morning, and I hope you all have a great day. Let me know in the comments who you are, and let me know you were here so I can say hello to you, and let me know what kind of content that you're interested in. Thank you so much for coming. I'll see you next